Hello everyone, I hope that you're all doing wonderful. Today I am finally bringing you the sketchbook tour that I've been talking about for months now. It's been a really rough and weird period for me, but I really wanted to share this with you. So even though it's a bit late, it's finally here. I really wanted to talk a bit about the sketchbook overall and share it with you in its entirety. You have likely seen a lot of parts of this in previous videos, but I think I've really learned a lot in this about what I want to paint and how I want to paint it, and so I thought this would be a nice closure to that. And if you saw at the beginning of in the first page, I wrote to new experiments and opportunities to grow as a kind of statement of what I wanted the sketchbook to be for me. And I think it truly was that. I started this just a few days before I left the UK, and looking back, I can now see that coming back home was quite a traumatic experience from an artistic point of view. I went through a long phase of being very unsure about my art and very uncertain about the subjects and the style of my art. And so there was a quite an extended period of time through which I did not paint or draw in the sketchbook at all. So except for the first few pages, which I did around March of 2020, everything else that is in here was done after the summer, so from around September of 2020 until March or April 2021. And I did have another sketchbook in between, which is not finished and it will probably never be, but it's a good statement of what that period was like for me artistically. And it's a much more experimental one than this, even though this to me, I can see a lot of growth in this one, but it's a lot more consolidated than the other one. It's experimental, but it has a direction. The other one, it's just crisis. It's not knowing where to start, and you can see some pages of it in some of my videos that I did over the summer, and maybe one day I will share it in its entirety, but now it still feels quite vulnerable to share it, so that's something that I'm going to continue keeping private for now. But this is a sketchbook that I am overall very, very proud of, and I think it was a very important stepping stone for the direction that my art is going in at the moment. Everything that you see in here was painted with either acrylics, gouache or watercolor, but mainly acrylics. And now that I've started experimenting with oils, that has definitely had a massive impact on my artistic direction as well. So I've gone back to studying a lot, and I've been a lot more interested in objects and in documenting everyday life scenes as almost an excuse to practice. And that's not what I have always painted with acrylics for the most part. I've barely painted portraits in oil so far, but you can see clearly in this sketchbook just how much I liked painting portraits with acrylics. So it's very interesting to see how things change and how different mediums and different situations can impact one's artwork. So this sketchbook is overall filled with really good memories, and I really like the art that I've made in here. I have filmed the painting process for most of the paintings that are in here, so I'll try to link the corresponding videos in the cards so you can check them out if you're interested in hearing a bit more stories and details about each of the pieces. But one thing to keep in mind is that this was not filled in chronological order. I did not date any of these, which was a bad idea, but I did paint things just at random places in the sketchbook. So there are things from the middle of the sketchbook that I actually did a lot earlier than some that I did at the beginning. So it's all a bit mixed up, and maybe I just realized maybe you won't be able to see the development as much as I do. It might not be as evident for others as it is for me, but I hope you enjoy it regardless. For me personally, this was a very important sketchbook. I think there's not necessarily any incredibly complex pieces in here. It is just a sketchbook in the end. There's loads of doodles and very random sketches and paintings that maybe just took half an hour. But I think practice is very important, and I like having a place where I know I can just practice. I don't have to worry about the finished piece. I am not 100% happy with everything that is in here. There are pages that I do not like. There are pages that I had painted other things in and I have covered up and painted over. So there's a bit of everything in here, but stylistically I think it really helped me figure out exactly what I like. And I associate this with a very nice period, especially because a lot of what's in here came after the other sketchbook that I talked about earlier, which was pure chaos. Like, I just felt lost in there, and I can clearly see that I did not know what I was doing. I was trying 100 different things and I had no direction. But this, I like the fact that I was able to pull my ideas together again and still experiment and try different things and not just stick to one thing over and over again, but it's a lot more coherent, and I'm overall very pleased with how it turned out and what I have learned using it, which I think is the most important thing. So that was a bit of a rant about the sketchbook. I hope you did not find it boring. I hope you enjoyed it. And I would be very interested in knowing what you think about it as well. It's always nice to have a second opinion as well. And with that being said, I will see you next week with a new video. I hope that you're well, and I wish you a lovely week. Bye.